Welcome to Main Street Moments and Beyond. I'm Brian, along with my wife, Kathy. Oh, man, it's been a while, Kathy, because, well, there hasn't been a lot of Disney news with the parks closed, right?
I know. We haven't done a podcast in a couple weeks, and we've really been kind of waiting for new news to come out. Because like I said on the last podcast, I feel like I'm repeating myself because we're talking about the same thing over and over again. I'd rather put out good content instead of constantly repeating myself. You know what I mean? So we kind of been waiting and holding off. So the newest thing now, I wanted to talk to you about this. It's interesting. We have our Facebook group, Main Street Moments, on Facebook, and anybody can join if they love Disney. And we're almost up to 1,200 members, which is pretty good. So anyway, sometimes I'll post articles about the opening of Disney. I post a lot of articles in there. There's really not much other news right now when it comes to Disney other than when are they going to reopen? That's like the only thing you can find a lot of times as far as articles go. And there's a lot of speculation on when. Sometimes it's 6 months. Sometimes it's now that the news is next year. They're saying that financial analysts have advised the company not to open till next year. And it's so interesting because when you post these articles that speculate, people get really aggravated. There's a lot of people that get really mad and post rude comments in the group like, I'm tired of people speculating. We don't know what's going to happen. Well, yeah, none of us know. So that's why we're all speculating until we know, until Disney decides to tell us, which they're not telling us anything, which I think is crazy. I mean, everybody's really in the dark. Maybe they don't know what they're doing. But you made a point to me. You said that maybe they don't know when they're opening, and maybe that's why they haven't told us anything. Maybe there's a lot of disagreement. Maybe they're waiting to see what happens with the virus. And
here's the thing going on,
kind of keeping everybody in the dark.
Yeah, what I think's going on with, and by the way, in case you were wondering, Kathy and I, when we do the show, we social distance. We still live together. Kathy's just in the other room. But when we
I didn't move out.
No. When we're doing the show, we don't get close together while we're doing the show.
Because we usually share a mic. So that's why we're just I'm using a headset with a portable. I know it doesn't sound as good, but I have to do that right now.
So, Disney is looking more at the long term. Everyone's like, okay, I want to go to the park this weekend. When can I go back to the park? Disney's been around a long time. We got the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World coming up next year. And I think what's going on with Disney is a couple of things. One, this article that has circulated all over yesterday from financial analysts says that they think Disney will open up in January, which is a long way off because it's still April. And for the first 6 months of 2021, open the parks at 50% capacity. And then the second 6 months at 75% capacity. Is what they're, Disney's probably calculating a couple of things. One, they're calculating if they open up too early and an entire family get coronavirus and, where that could go.
More.
Yeah.
Hundreds.
Exactly. That it would be just devastating for them the long term. So waiting 6, 8 months, 9 months even is worth it as opposed to having that.
Not only that, they'd have to close again. And go through all that. So they'd have
and who
to
knows
bring
for
back
how
the
long.
employees and then furlough the employees again.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to wait it out.
And then there's another aspect too, is how many guests do they have to have in the park to not lose money, right? To not lose money. Because when a park is open, even if they only opened up Magic Kingdom, right? If they're only going to open up one, it's going to be Magic Kingdom. But if they only open up Magic Kingdom, they still have to have a certain number of guests to cover the expense of the electricity, the ride attendants, and all of that. So maybe it is not even profitable for them to be open with less than 50% capacity under the current situation. So there's a lot of these things that factor in. I was wondering, and maybe people can write in the comments, because I was thinking, today is Saturday. We live in Florida. There's nothing to do except go shopping and go eating. The beaches are closed in most of Florida still. And
you can't go shopping now either. The
malls
are
closed. Yeah, the malls are closed.
Yeah, we can't do anything.
And answer this in the comments, people out there listening, because I was thinking, if Walt Disney World was open today on Saturday, typically I'd be there. I go there a couple of times a month, usually on Saturdays. If they announced this past week that they would have been open today, would I have been there today? And I think I might have been. I think I would have.
So?
Well, if you would let me, but I would.
I'd be very nervous because I'm a high risk person.
Yeah.
I would be very nervous because you can control what you do. You can control washing your hands, but I've been to Disney where I've been very careful and I still got sick. I still came home with a cold 3 days later.
You know what I haven't
Even though
seen?
I wash my hands, I use hand sanitizer, I use Lysol wipes because I'm always very careful anyway.
Yeah.
And you said like one time you were standing in line and some kid just coughed on your arm, and that's how easy it happens. I remember
it made me really sick. I got really sick from that.
I always got sick because a student would come up to my desk and out of the blue they would just cough right on me, and you can't control that. Now, if you're wearing a mask, it would help, but I don't know how much these masks protect you from the tiny, tiny little droplets. Plus, I've read articles where it can pass through air conditioning. So if you're in a building or a restaurant.
Yeah, but, I was at Walmart. I go to Walmart. Walmart is as crowded as Walt Disney World is these days because so many other things are closed. So if Walmart can be open, why can't Disney be open at 50% capacity? And
I guess Walmart's not limiting the number of people in the store.
I don't know.
I guess that lasted a hot minute.
Doesn't seem like it, at least not in the ones in our neighborhood. But one thing I haven't seen Disney doing that Universal Studios Orlando is doing, there have been photographs online, I'm sure a lot of you have seen these, that Universal Orlando has been putting the social distancing marks in the queue lines around the park. I know there have been some pictures of them doing that at Shanghai Disney, but I haven't seen anything like that in Orlando or Disneyland in Anaheim.
Well, maybe they're going to wait and let Universal be the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
And let them try it out and see what happens, and kind of let them and see what happens at Shanghai before they, because out of all the parks, I would guess the Walt Disney World is the most crowded. I'm guessing it has the largest. I think it's the only one that has 4 parks. Mm-hmm. Disney Springs probably has the most hotels. It's probably the busiest, probably has the most international visitors than any of the. I mean, how many British vloggers don't even go to Disneyland Paris? They come all the way here. Yeah. So, I would imagine it's the busiest. So maybe they're going to wait and see what happens with Universal and kind of test the waters. But it might be smart for them to just say, like you said, Disney's going to be around a long time. It's a company that's not a flash in the pan. They're going to be here for a long, long time. They have lots of properties and people keep coming. Maybe they're like thinking, let's just stay shut down. Let's get all our construction finished. Let's have everything ready by January and we're going to open then. But I wish they were more forthright with what's going on because there is so much speculation, and people that are in the Disney community are really desperate for the parks to open up again. They want everything to be safe, but a lot of people want to know, when is it going to open? When is it going to open? And when you post articles speculating, they get very angry, some people, for some reason. So I really wish Disney would be a little more forthright, not to mention all the employees they furloughed. I think they would like to know. Maybe they know more than we do. I don't know. But I feel like they're really keeping people in the dark about what they really haven't said anything.
Yeah, another thing Disney could do, and I would like Disney to do this, now that everyone has Disney Plus, I would like them to show us what is going on in the parks while they're closed. I was watching on YouTube on Easter Sunday, Paging Mr. Morrow on Easter Sunday was outside of SeaWorld, and the roller coasters were running at SeaWorld, and although there's no guests. So what's going on in there? Are the rides not running? I know I've seen some stories about the security guards every day are raising and lowering the flag. And on Main Street, USA, they do that. They do that ceremony every afternoon around 5:00. They're still doing that every day, raising the flag in the morning, lowering it at night. I'd like to see what's going on in there, and they could do that. They could send someone around with a camera and show us. Are the rides not running at all? Is there construction going on? I know, we're in Florida, so all around our community in Florida at construction sites, construction is still going on. There's no slowdown in construction. So is there construction going on in Disney? Are the rides running like they were on Easter Sunday at SeaWorld? Do they have to run them? What's going on there? I'd like to see some of that.
I feel like they could do more than just releasing recipes.
Keep people in the loop a little bit.
Yeah, and I think it'd be like you had the idea, and they should do this permanently on Disney Plus, have live cams at the parks around the world.
Yeah.
And you could just go to that channel or whatever, that live stream, and you can watch things live, like, you know, obviously not in private things, like not in private rooms, but like in the parks on Main Street or on certain rides or whatever. It'd be kind of cool to see that. And they could do that now. And I honestly think if they had like a live cam on the parks right now, like on Main Street, I think people would turn that on and watch it
all day.
Really do.
All day.
Yeah, they would have it on their and play music, play Disney music.
If they had live cams in certain areas around the parks all day, you know, like you still see, you know how you see.
Where would you put a live cam? I'd say Main Street.
Well, you see live cams all over the world, like at Times Square and all over. They should do the same thing at Disney, even while it is closed. Well, you got to have one. You got to have one on the castle. You've got to have
looking down towards Main Street, or and then vice versa. One on Main Street, looking down towards the castle.
You've got to have one facing Space Mountain. You know, down Tomorrowland. You've got to have one over by Pirates of the Caribbean. You've got to have one over by
Thunder Mountain.
On Thunder Mountain. Yeah, you know, all the big things.
You know,
I would like to see cameras when the park opens. I'd like to see live cameras inside the queues around the park too. Like I could watch people in line at Space Mountain.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think people would do that. I think Disney can do more to keep people placated until the park opens. And I feel Disney Plus, I love Disney Plus, but I know production has halted, but there's got to be a lot of movies they can release. Like, you know, during the 80s and 90s, there was a company called Touchstone, and it was Disney owned, and they did a ton. They've released some, like Splash, and they've released some movies, but Touchstone Movies released a lot of movies that were really popular. They could release that whole library. They could release so much stuff. I know they released Frozen 2 and Onward, and I think they might put Mulan possibly on Disney Plus, which would be great.
Live action.
But I feel they need to add more content to Disney Plus, and I think live cams are a great idea around all the parks. I just feel Disney could do more for people.
Well,
my guess would be what's going on.
My guess would be at the executive level, the board of directors level, like in the rest of the country, there is probably a lot of disagreement about opening up, because, you know, a lot of people want everything opened up. A lot of people don't. So I'm sure there's a similar division at the upper management at Disney.
And they work out all different kinds of scenarios in their mind. You know, they work and they deal with all these hypotheticals. So what if this? What if that? What can happen? What do we do? And they're trying to. There's a lot of liability issues, so they're trying to avoid potential disasters. So if you open a park, even if it's at 50%, you still have a lot of people in a dense area commingling for hours and hours at a time. Yeah. And if somebody goes in there, and then they're thinking, well, maybe we should test everybody, do a swab test. Well, you got to wait 15 minutes. So say you know how hard it is when you go into Disney, how long you have to go when they check your bags. Okay, it could take a good 30 minutes sometimes to wait in line, 20, 30 minutes. So if they're going to test every single person for COVID, then what are they going to do? Make them go to a holding area and wait, and then go up to them and say, you're good, you're not? I just can't see that happening.
And then you got to leave?
To me, that's nuts.
You know, it's awful.
That's nuts.
It makes no sense.
I think they realize that's a dumb idea, because if they really wanted to do it, they would open and do that.
You know, there's a lot of activity.
That's a dumb idea.
There's a lot of other activity going on in the parks too. The groundskeepers are still taking care of all the trees and all the flowers.
That's right.
Yeah, so they're keeping the parks clean, because any photographs you've seen, there's no overgrown flower beds or anything.
An article of what is going on at Disney, and they're still trimming all the topiaries. They're still keeping the grounds. So I think it would be cool to do something. They could do something to give the fans more than what they are, I feel. And they're just, I think, taking advantage of people by not telling them what's happening and kind of keeping them in the dark.
Yeah.
You know, and now I still haven't gotten our money back for our April passes.
Oh.
We're supposed to get a refund for 3 passes, and I still haven't received that refund. Now I'm going to see if they're going to charge me in May, because they should not be charging people. They said they wouldn't. So if they charge me, they're going to be getting a phone call. Of course, I'll probably be on hold for 10 hours.
Yeah.
But they should not be charging people for annual passes if the park is not open. That is a break. That is a breach of contract. And you could actually probably have a class action lawsuit against a company. Remember when they had those fuel rods and they started charging? And right away there was a class action lawsuit because people that bought those fuel rods, they said this is a breach of contract.
That's right.
And they dropped it and they stopped charging people. When you pay for an annual pass, you're expected to get something in return for that payment, access to the parks. And if you're not getting that access, that contract is null and void. So they said they're going to stop charging. I have not gotten a refund back for April, and let's see if they charge us for May, because if that goes on through the year, that's,
well,
the
one thing we do know is they are taking still hotel reservations for June. They have not stopped that, and we're getting closer and closer. They've been taking.
What is that about?
Yeah, so they plan on having maybe something in June. What that is, and I got to tell you, Disney. I have never seen Disney so silent. Now, again, I know they may not have a lot of answers, but they're not offering anything as to really what their plans are. And here in Florida, the governor of Florida...
It's kind of disappointing. I got to tell you, I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, the governor of Florida has a task force that he put together about recommendations to reopen the state of Florida. And there were executives from Walt Disney World on that task force. And I haven't seen any press conferences about it. I haven't seen any decent releases from Disney or anyone about it. And I'll tell you, I feel so sorry for the furloughed Disney workers. This is awful.
Well,
this really is awful.
Here you have a job, which is a very coveted job. It's not easy to get a job at Disney World. And so many people apply for those jobs there. It's like a dream job for so many people, and they love it. And it's hard to get in. And once you get in, you're golden. You're in the company, and it's your foot in the door. And now you have people that are with this company. I think about that girl that we talked about who was sleeping in her car at Disney World because she wasn't making enough money.
Yeah.
What is she doing now? Did she have to get another job? I mean, she was barely making it working for Disney. So are these employees, I'm sure some of them are collecting unemployment, but that only goes so far. It's not forever. I've never been on unemployment, but I don't think it's like an indefinite thing.
Yeah.
There's, and it's not that much. I think it's like $250 to $600 a week, depending on what you make. But, then what? Are these people... Are they looking for other work,
There's
or are
no
they
other
just
work.
sitting home? They sitting home? Well, there's some. There's like Amazon and Walmart. They're hiring, but
not much.
Or are they waiting?
The theme parks and everything related to it, or so. Like here in South Florida, where we are at, you drive by a hotel, it's a ghost town. I can only imagine what it's like in the Orlando area right now.
Well, we know people that live there, and we know a guy who a good friend of ours who lives in Orlando, and he drives for Uber and DoorDash and all this stuff. And he said the traffic is like nothing. I mean, Orlando's notorious for anybody who lives there, that's their biggest complaint is the traffic.
It's pretty bad.
It takes forever.
Yeah, it's brutal.
And the people I've talked to, they're like, the traffic is nothing now.
Yeah,
they're
it's
like,
brutal.
what took me an hour, it takes me 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's all the tourism's gone. So I'm sure that is great for the locals. I'm sure they love it.
Yeah.
And, they don't, it's so much of the traffic is that, and that'll come back eventually. But that's probably the biggest marked change when you're living there, other than not being able to
I've already missed. How many Disney trips do you think I've missed since this began? Because I did stop going.
They've been closed like a month. It's been like 30 days since they closed.
Yeah.
Seems longer.
It does seem longer. Well, I stopped going before that, though. Before they closed down, we kind of saw what was going on, and I did not go at least once. I didn't go before they closed.
What happened is my doctor told me in January, and I talked to her about it in January, my ear, nose, and throat doctor, and I said, what do I do if Corona comes to Florida? She said, hide. That was her word, hide. And she said, if there's one case in Florida, you need to stay home, and your husband cannot go to Disney, because she knows we do Disney vlogs. She said he cannot go to Disney anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's a very, very high risk place because you have so many people internationally. Now, if they do reopen and they reopen to locals only, it's still risky, but it's not as risky as if you have people flying in from all over the world, bringing it from, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but I don't even know if it's safe for anybody to go. I hate to say that. I don't mean to be like a paranoid person, but it's still, the virus is still out there. It's highly contagious. But the flu's out there too. So,
well, when they reopen, because I usually just go up for the day. I go up early Saturday morning, come back Saturday afternoon or evening. So what I'll end up doing when I go up to Disney World when the park first opens is when I come home in the afternoon or evening, I will immediately take a shower, wash the clothes I wore that day. As soon as I walk in the door, I'll throw my clothes in.
It doesn't matter if somebody coughs on you.
Yeah, I know, but that
doesn't matter. You can scrub all you want.
Well, I gotta live. I'm going to go back. It's just a matter of when. Everyone's going to go back. Everyone's going to go back. Well, obviously,
but I really feel that even if Disney opened, they're going to have a lot of restrictions on the park. Yeah. And they might even test people going in, which I think is lunacy, even though a lot of people think it's fine. I think it's nuts. But I personally feel if you want to go to Disney and you don't live locally, okay, if you don't live within driving distance where you can go and they could say, sorry, you're positive, you can't come in, go back home. If you have to fly in or drive over 3 hours and you don't mind turning around, but I think people should honestly just wait till next year. It's just not worth it. Yeah. Wait another year. When all this is over, there's a vaccine. It's all over and done with. It'll be the 50th. They'll have a big deal. It'll be exciting. And I would just wait it out a little bit and see what happens. I mean, that's just me personally. I don't even know if it's worth going right now because I think I don't think it's going to be fun. I think people are going to be so worried about it and so careful. And Disney is going to have so many restrictions if they opened now that I don't even know if it would be.
Yeah. And there are so many people that have moved to Florida, to the Orlando just for Walt Disney World. A lot of these members of the cast have moved to Florida and left other jobs just to be cast members at Disney. And there's a lot of vloggers like Michael K and others that have moved to Florida. Our
friends at Theme Park Delights and
that's right.
They just drove.
Yeah.
From Washington State.
That's right.
2 months ago to be close to Disney.
And then
they
this
do
happens.
Vlogging.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not freaked out about it. They know it's going to open eventually.
It'll reopen.
They're moving into a house and all this, so they're busy.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Michael K is just going nuts. I mean, he's got to be going through withdrawals.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he has been away from Disney this long in a long time. I think the longest, when he was living in Maryland, what would be the longest stretch? Maybe 3 months. So maybe he has gone this long.
He would do something. He would go on a cruise or something.
It seemed like every 2 or 3 months.
But some of the vlogs. See, it depends on what the vlog is. Okay, one big YouTube channel is the Disney food blog. The DFB guy, Disney food blog. And I'm a big fan of Disney Food Blog, but right now, their content is all about when you're visiting Disney, you're going to do this, you do that, you're going to try this, you're going to try that. It's kind of hard for me to watch kind of like a travel-related video to Disney, like, okay, these are the best eateries at Epcot.
But what else can they do? I mean,
it's tough.
It's a tough position when you make vlogs and it's your livelihood. We're not in that position. We do it just for fun, but there are people that vlog as their livelihood.
Yeah, it's tough.
And they have to keep putting up content. Like Braden. What is Braden just moved to Orlando from Mickey Views?
Yeah, from Atlanta.
What is he doing? You said he had put a video up, but he hadn't put up one in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. I
mean, he was at the park. These people like Braden, Michael K, they're at the parks every day.
Well, Mickey Views,
making vlogs, getting content.
Mickey Views, the channel host is Braden. Not only did he move to the Orlando area to do Disney vlogging in his Disney YouTube channel, he built a set. And if you go to Mickey Views, he has an incredible set. It's like a news set. It's really nice. So he built a set to do his YouTube videos from, and then boom, this happens. I mean, there's news. He can still probably do a weekly video, but it's not. Right
really
now,
hard.
we would be talking about, if this had not happened, We would be dealing with the opening of the space restaurant at Epcot, Ratatouille opening, and all this. And all these things are, you really can't talk about them or even look forward to them.
I mean, Michael K has really good videos when he's kind of going back to the videos he used to do where he would pick a topic and sit there in his office and talk about it. And I think people missed him doing that a lot because when he moved to Orlando, he stopped doing it as much. And I liked those kind of videos that he did. They were really informative and really good. Yeah. I think he's going back to doing that. But after 2 or 3 weeks of talking, it's like us talking about this. It's hard to find content.
Well, the vloggers that are doing well, the vloggers that are doing well are the ones, the ones that aren't struggling for content are the ones that do things other than the theme parks, like Justin Scard and Adam the Woo. There's things that they do that are outside of the theme parks. But if
makes it a little easier.
I saw a vlog about a week ago. This was a very good one, and it came up in my feed, and it was someone I don't know, so I can't tell you the name of the channel, guys. I'm sorry, but this was very recent too. They drove up to all the entrances to the parking lots for Epcot, Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, and those entrances where the toll gate is, those are county public roads, so you can drive on them still. They're not shut down. So and that was interesting. There are things that the Orlando-based people could do. I would be very. I
don't know. Everything's closed.
Well, that's a vlog. I wouldn't mind seeing what's going on, around the hotels near Disney. Some of those big hotels, are they empty? I would try to find things like that to vlog. But a lot of people, when I watch their vlogs, they seem terrified to leave their house. Adam the Woo flew back to California. He left Orlando. Yeah. And he spent, 12 days in his apartment? He didn't leave his apartment for 12 days. And Tim Tracker...
the news has you scared to death.
Yeah, and he's in California, so it's a little more severe than Florida. And Tim Tracker, they just had a baby, so they don't want to take any chances. So I guess they're afraid to leave.
Understand.
Yeah. So,
I can understand. I mean, when Emily was born, with your first kid especially, you are so ridiculously overprotective. It's like you become like an insane person. Yeah. Like, it's like that Love's commercial. By the time they have the second kid, they're like handing it off to the mechanic who's full of dirt.
Yeah.
And not that happens, but when you have your first kid, you are very, very careful about everything. Yeah. So I don't blame them for staying home, and they should stay home. But it's really got to be difficult and we haven't done any vlogs because you'll say to me, I want to do a vlog, but I have nowhere to go.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I'm like, well, then don't do one.
Everything's closed.
Because I'd rather put out quality over quantity. And there are some vloggers that you can tell are kind of phoning it in, and they're more about quantity. And then there's others that are really putting in time and really trying to be creative and different, which I can appreciate. But it's got to be difficult for everybody because their content is based on a place that's closed now.
A lot of them have a lot of problems, like Provost Plus Parks, which are really they're Disneyland vloggers. They're really good, and they had planned. I just found them maybe about 2 months ago. They had planned to travel the world, going to every Disney theme park, and they started the trip, and they were in Orlando, and they were doing the parks. And then, boom, they went to Paris. They went to Paris. And then when they were in Paris, they were going to head on after that to Hong Kong, Japan, Shanghai. And then this happened. The parks in Asia closed. So they came back to Florida, went on a Disney cruise, and then all the parks closed. And not only were they planning this worldwide trip, I guess they got a lot of money to do something like that. It's crazy.
I guess so.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And then they took the Disney.
But that is an epic
They did.
thing.
They did.
How many vloggers do that? Like none. All at once.
No.
Do all the parks.
No,
I've never seen anybody do that.
And not only did
they
plan it, they made all the arrangements. And Provost Plus Parks, they're not typical vloggers. They have at least one camera guy that travels with them and films them when they're at the parks.
He might even do their editing and everything.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they're not like vloggers in the sense of a regular vlogger, because they do have like a camera guy that goes with them.
They have like a crew.
Yeah,
like a crew.
It is.
It's a little more professional.
It is. Well, it's different. It took Provost Plus Parks. You can check them out, but they made reservations and made payments and arranged to have this camera guy go with them around the world. And then they're in France. And then all the parks shut down. So that really, and they did a huge publicity thing too. They got a lot of publicity to do the trip because they were going to do this, and they were the first YouTube channel to do this. And then boom, this happens. So if you're a Disney YouTuber, it's not easy right now. It's not easy.
No, but it's probably bad for a lot of YouTubers because not just Disney. There's a lot of YouTubers that go places, and their vlogs are about going places and they can't traveling, and so it's not just Disney. That's just the vloggers we watch.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a lot of other vloggers that base a lot of their vlogs on traveling or shopping.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that.
Or other things, and this has put a crimp on everything.
Well, Justine can continue to do her unboxings because she can just order off of Amazon all the time and unbox something all the time.
Exactly.
So if you're an unboxing channel, but the theme park channels, it's tough right now. And a lot of people, there are a lot of people, I mean, like Spokesman and Prince Charming Dev and Resort TV One, think about what they're losing. Because they make very good money. Some of these vloggers, they have a lot of subscribers. They some of them make a living. This is their only source of income. And
Resort TV One, he works and Jenna work. They have jobs. He's a teacher. He has a very good job. Jenna, I think she works in retail. Last time I heard.
Yeah.
But they do work, which you should always have a fallback, as far as I'm concerned.
If you're vlogging,
there are vloggers like Spokesman. Now, maybe they got jobs. I don't know.
Prince Charming in Orlando. What are they going to get a job doing during this? Orlando shut down.
I don't know. DoorDash,
Instacart,
there's places hiring.
Uber Eats.
Anything that delivers, you're going to get a job. But maybe they're doing something. I don't know, but they have got to be like freaking out because if Disney does not open till next year,
oh my goodness,
it is going to be difficult to come up with, especially if you can't really go anywhere else. It's going to be really difficult.
Like today, we
come up with content.
Being in Florida, most of what we vlog happens to be with the parks, but sometimes I'll go and vlog something else. And I was thinking yesterday,
they might have to do that.
Yeah, we're in Florida. Let me go vlog something else. And there's all the tourist locations are closed in Florida. There's nowhere to go.
Well, if you're a single guy like Spokesman or Dev's got a girlfriend, I know that. But if you're not married, you don't have kids, you have a little more freedom to travel and do things. And you could hop in your car, and if you really want to get out there and try to find something, and there's got to be something. Adam the Woo does vlogging now. He hasn't left his apartment in like 2 weeks, but he'll go to these like towns that are abandoned, and when he goes there, there's nobody there.
Yeah,
and he'll like do a series of abandoned towns and other things like that. You can be creative if you have the ability to leave your area and you don't have like a huge amount of responsibilities.
Well, there's a lot to see around Kissimmee and places like that. Even though it's abandoned, these abandoned, shut down places right now during this pandemic would be interesting to see what's going on up there. So, I think what happened with some of the vloggers up at Disney is we talked about this a few weeks ago. Spokesman had a run-in with some security guards at one of the hotels. And I think a lot of vloggers up in Orlando got afraid to go around some of these places around the parks. But I saw a vlog not long ago. Someone just had a camera on the dashboard of their car, and they drove around Magic Kingdom. Because you can do that. You can drive the road that goes around the hotels. That you can drive all the way behind the back of the Magic Kingdom and in the front of it where the Polynesian and all that is, and it was
now, if you park
fun to
your
watch.
Car, like you can't. I'm assuming you cannot go to hotel property because all the hotels have a guard gate.
That's correct.
So I'm assuming
they're all shut down. Yeah.
Is there anywhere on Disney property where you can park your car? I don't know the property that well, and get out and walk around. And
not too much. I was watching Justin Scard, he's out in California.
Can you park at Disney Springs?
And
are they letting you in there?
No, you can't. Not. No, you can't park at Disney Springs. But Justin Scard went up to the gate at Disneyland. It's a different thing than here because it's in the city of Anaheim. But he did a vlog a couple days ago going up to the gate at Disneyland. I know it's tough.
Did he get to see inside?
There's not much to see from where he was at, but you could still see not much. No. because he couldn't get in the parking
hard.
lot.
I mean, like I said, it's got to be affecting other.
Oh my goodness.
Vloggers.
Well, it's affecting every business.
Yeah, it is.
Every business is being affected.
It really, and I feel mostly badly for the people that work there that are not working right now, and everybody else who's out of work. It's just awful right now.
It's awful. But when it opens up, when the parks do reopen, vlogging is going to explode because people are going to want to see it.
Do you think it will explode, or do you think there's going to be some vloggers that are just going to, after this year, just going to walk away and hang up their cameras? Do you think that's possible?
Probably small people. Not the big guys.
Ones where they're going to be like, you know what, they've moved on. They've gotten other work. They've put their energies into other things. And they're just like, you know what, I got to move on from this because I've just, you know what I mean? Do you think that is possible?
Yeah. I don't think any of the vloggers we watch will hang it up because of it. They'll ride it out. And as soon as the parks reopen, they'll be there.
Yeah. Now, if they only open at 50% capacity in January, I'm curious to know, I think there's going to be travel bans until there's a vaccine. I don't think international travel from Asia and Europe is going to be open for a while.
No.
So, plus, who knows with the borders and all that, this could be going on. Everybody's closed their borders. So that could go on for another year or two.
Easily.
I think what they do 50%, I think they'll do one of two things. I think they're going to open to Florida residents only.
Yeah.
Or hotel guests only, or both. Florida residents and hotel guests. But they might not. They're opening hotels now, though, in June. They are accepting reservations.
But they can always say we are not going to be open. They might be. It doesn't mean they have to take you. They could say no, not till July. Well, another thing too is another possibility. They may open up the parks and do them like the special ticketed events, like they do with Christmas and Halloween and things. And have them set up that way where you have to have a special advanced purchase ticket.
That's possible.
So they're not turning people away.
To control the crowd level.
And the people showing up. They don't want to, so they're controlling people showing up.
They don't want people showing up, driving or getting hotel, flying in or whatever, and then we're full. Sorry. I mean, that can happen now, but it's rare. I mean, the parks hold so many people. Yeah. But if they did that, they might do it like a special event. Yeah. Now, how would they handle the annual pass holders?
I'm guessing they're probably going to revamp how they do everything, the ticketing, the passes, and everything. Yeah. I think we're going to see big changes. If they have to reduce,
including the prices.
Oh yeah,
the prices, because they're going to have to recoup this money.
That's right. If they have to have a reduced capacity, they got to still make the money. They're going to raise the prices. Can you imagine, as high as they are now, they're going to raise? They'll have to stay in business. Well, listen, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back. Don't worry. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'm Brian, always joined by Kathy. We'll talk to you next time.